A worker quit their job in an all-staff email on day one after their boss ridiculed the very concept of work-life balance. The worker is a tech professional from India, which is having something of a national reckoning over excessive workloads and toxic work culture following the death of Anna Sebastian Perriol, a story that we brought you a couple weeks ago, who lost her life at just 26 in part due to overwork. In fact, this man seemed to reference that story in his resignation email, which is the kind of searing takedown that most of us only dream of writing. In it, he calls out his toxic boss for mocking him in front of his colleagues for using his free time for things like exercising, sleeping, and reading books instead of focusing on his career. More importantly, he called out his boss's unreasonable, inhumane, and inconsiderate workloads, and his expectations for round-the-clock availability outside of normal working hours. He also called many of his boss's demands threatening, and noted that HR promised him that overtime was never expected, and that in fact was the reason why the company doesn't even have an overtime policy. Between being openly lied to and berated in front of his colleagues, he decided to leave on day one, telling his boss, quote, to find someone who would be willing to go along with your outrageous demands. And experts say he absolutely did the right thing. As executive coach and former CEO Denise Conroy put it in a TikTok, workers should never ignore their intuition about a job, because it's there to inform you, guide you, and ultimately maybe save your life. I can speak from experience that she's absolutely correct. Several years ago, I had a job that my gut told me during my interview was dangerously toxic. When the boss subtly but shockingly belittled another employee in front of me during my interview, I shrugged it off because I needed the job so badly, but day one I knew I had made a huge mistake. And in very short order, I was having nightmares, jumping every time my phone rang. But because the job market at the time was so bad, I hung in for nearly 2 years. Nearly a decade later, I am still dealing with the repercussions, not just for my mental health, but my physical health. Bottom line, it was 100% not worth it. And I wish I'd had the guts and self-belief to do what this guy did. American work culture is deeply toxic, and it has infected countries all over the world. It is devastating to our health and our lives. Kudos to anyone who refuses to tolerate it. Enough is enough.